Hi all, good morning. Welcome to the trade setup right here on BQ Prime. I'm Neeraj Shah. Excuse us for being late. We also somehow, due to some technical issues, don't have the plates per se of the data. But let me try and take you through all the key things that you should keep in mind. Keep in mind that the US markets and the US futures are all in the red. So US markets were down in Friday, and US futures are trading soft. So we'll not have too many positive cues. The SGX Nifty, which should come up, probably come up on your screen, would have a start which is marginally off in the session today. So about 35 odd points, and this is largely in line with what should be anticipated. Remember, on Thursday's Twitter Spaces, both Dr. Sikanara and Rajat Bose were of the opinion that maybe we could be in for an intermediate peak of sorts. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know, but I'm just pointing it out that the US markets are not all that active today, or rather active on the downside. And keep in mind, it's expiry week, as well as we have the Fed meet coming up. And therefore, it's interesting. Frankly, from my mind, the trade setup is that the monthly expiry is dovetailing right into the Fed meet, right? Fed meet is 26, 27, expiry 28. So kind of volatile times expected for the next 2 or 3 or 4 sessions. So please keep that at the back of your mind. Um, BFSI, I reckon, will be in focus because ICICI Bank gave good numbers. There is Bajaj Finance commentary, results and commentary expected this week. So banking and Kotak, I mean, well, you could argue it missed estimates slightly, but there were some green shoots there too. So BFSI certainly remains in focus, which is actually a good sign. And the fact that FPIs have been net buyers in July thus far also aids to the sentiment. Despite Friday's sell-off, we still have, or sell number, we still have FPIs being net positive, which is actually not a bad sign. Let's talk about key things to watch out for. Of course, to keep in mind that aside of course, Tata Steel, Tech Mahindra, and Axis Bank, which are the three nifty numbers, a bunch of very important mid-cap numbers slated to come out. So you'll have Macro Tech from the real estate space, or Century Textiles as well, very important. We'll have KPIT Tech and Chennai Petro. And Chennai Petro, after all that's happened on the windfall tax, remains in focus. KPIT Tech, after what Tata Elxsi and LTTS have managed to do, also remains in focus. So do watch out for those. The stock of the day arguably has to be ICICI Bank. Splendid numbers. NI up 20%, NIMS expanding marginally, gross NPAs coming off, PAT up 50%. There's hardly a fault that you could find with ICICI Bank numbers. And I think Motilal Oswal, to that extent, said that on the note as well, that because of the intense FPI selling, ICICI Bank's absolute performance has been limited, but it's only a matter of time before it gets its deserving multiple, is what Motilal Oswal had to say. And I think across the board, viewers, I saw ICICI Bank being given a thumbs up. Jeffries said it's the top pick. Motilal Oswal said it's the top pick. Morgan Stanley, I think, said it's the top pick. So across the board, you have everybody fairly bullish on ICICI Bank. To my mind, that remains the stock of the day. I could, Infosys had a bit of a hit a bit of a miss. So I reckon it'll still do okay. But the only reason why I don't think that Infosys remains uh, a stock that will definitely be a hit, or a necessary as strong a hit than ICICI Bank, is because it had some misses. I mean, the compared to numbers, net profit fell 5.7%. The revenue was higher, but the net profit certainly fell 5.7% at 5360 crores versus the estimates of 5671 crores. So the numbers left a bit to be desired. The highlights, I mean, in attrition inched up quarter on quarter, but it raised its revenue growth guidance for FY23 to 14 to 16% from 13 to 15%. So there is a raise of guidance from Infosys end, which is a big positive. And look at it compared to anybody else, right? It's just stupendous what Infosys has managed to do, and it's maintained its operating margin forecast to 20 from 21 to 23%. Remember, EBIT margins fell in this quarter, lower than estimated, and that's why people might have been a bit worried. But it's maintained its forecast. So you actually take that with both hands, and that's quite stunning when it comes to Infosys. And you take the results. Yes, it's for the quarter gone by, and there were some issues, but the outlook seems to be fairly positive. at 14 to 16% with a margin forecast of 21 to 23. In the big four thus far, Infosys is ruling the roost compared to a TCS, HCL Tech, or for that matter, Wipro. Just really strong show put up by Infi, and that should augur well for the stock. I suspect it should augur well for the stock. Let me not sound it out that this is what will happen. Keep in mind, let's just do a basic comparison. Constant currency growth, Infosys was 5.5%, TCS was 3.5%, HCL Tech 2.7%, Wipro 2.1%. Attrition was the highest there, but it's the only one with the raised guidance, and therefore Infi should do well. I reckon it should do well, but let's wait and watch. Kotak Bank, NI up 19.2%, at about 4,697 crores. The expectations versus 3,941. PAT up 26%. It missed estimates slightly, but I think most brokers have given a kinder view to Kotak Bank. Banking NHS is in a good spot, so watch out for this one. Reliance was a bit of a miss, as was JSW Steel. So Reliance certainly had a miss on higher input costs. The net profit at 19,443. The Bloomberg estimate was 21,615. So clearly that one had some issues. And JSW Steel had multiple issues, really. Net profit, revenue up 32%, so that was okay. But EBITDA fell. EBITDA margin cracked really to 11.3 versus 35.5. Net profit falling 86%. The expectations were 279 crores, and JSW Steel net profit was 838 crores. Just showed the quantum of pain there. Now, the management is saying, and you will hear the management today, the management is saying that the cost of materials jumped YOY, but the 4 one-offs impacted costs, and they'll not be true in the second half. So, in the second quarter onwards. So maybe there's a bit of a respite, but I saw most brokerages cutting the target prices. Weak quarter, JSW management interview at about 9:30 a.m. So you want to tune in for that. So keep that in mind. Now, weak quarter for Finolex, HFCL, as well as Nahar Spinning. In all of these cases, the EBITDA margins cracked quite strongly. Finolex 10.6 versus 21.7. Nahar Spinning 13% versus 23%. 1,000 basis points shift in EBITDA margin YOY. HFCL maybe slightly better than that, but still fell. So weak quarter for these. Strong quarter for Sesa Shahi, Mahindra CIE, and Supreme Petrochem largely. So these might actually do okay. Supreme, okay, iffy, but Sesa Shahi and Mahindra most certainly. Granules, US FDA is now cited 6 observations, so that one will be in focus, as also GAIL, which is going to consider a bonus issue, or a Tata Motors, which got an order to supply 1,500 electric buses. You might want to figure out if Tata Motors is now going to be competing with some of the smaller firms, or do the smaller firms now have a competition in terms of Tata Motors, which might do a competition for electric buses supply. PB FinTech, wherein some vulnerabilities were identified in the part of the tech system, or Karnataka Bank, which is sought a nod to raise equity up to 1,000 crores via QIP. So all of these would be in focus. Also in focus, viewers, MOD is banned imports from 18 top defense platforms, and items will be made in India. So all of the defense firms, HAL, BDL, BEL, ITI, MTAR, Paras Defense in focus. Now in Fluorine in focus, because it came out with spectacular set of, actually good set of numbers, but very good commentary on all of the 3 business verticals. So it's an expensive stock, but might be in focus today, might do well. And lastly, Zomato, viewers, because the promoter lock-in ends today. You never know, there could be some selling pressure on that one. And maybe stocks like Panisha Biotech or Dr. Reddy's might react positively, because monkeypox is now a global health concern by the WHO. So maybe these companies which make treatment for monkeypox, Panisha Biotech and Dr. Reddy's, might remain in focus. Viewers, please excuse us. We couldn't quite do the justice to the trade setup because we didn't have the graphic elements to the show. So excuse us for that. But just watch out for all of these stocks that I mentioned. They could well be in focus. The markets might have a bit of a iffy outcome today, and as well for the rest of the week. Might be choppy because of the expiry and the Fed meet and a bunch of results. Some 16 nifty names coming out with numbers. 16 nifty names coming out with numbers this week. So it's a very heavy week. Be careful if you're trading. Bottom up might be the way to go. The index might not necessarily give you too many upsides. Thanks so much for tuning in today.